Marijuana, pot, grass, weed. This video I think is going to get me into a lot of trouble because this is such a controversial topic to so many people. I can already see the stoners lining my comments with hate and vitriol and anger towards me, and you know what? I'm here to take the smoke, guys. Not literally, no, we're not doing that anymore. But I'm here to take the smoke. Now, reading the title of this video, you obviously know my stance right off the rip of what I think about marijuana. But I want to clarify on a lot of things. First off, I want you to understand that if you're an adult, you are allowed to make your own decisions. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life by any means. I think people might have had that misconception with me last video when I was talking about having kids and why I think it's important. But I think with this topic, you know, it's a little bit more nuanced. I understand that it can help people and stuff, but I'm just going to explain my experiences with marijuana and how it's affected my life. I think in a very negative way, and still to this day, I kind of deal with the repercussions of marijuana usage, heavy marijuana usage. I want to clarify that. So let's go back to me being 16 years old. And my father growing up was always very adamantly against marijuana usage, and he always told me, you know, when it came to things like drugs and alcohol, to let the cement dry. And I never really quite understood what that meant until I got older and I realized that I probably never really let the cement dry in my life. So being a 16-year-old boy, playing in rock bands, doing the things that I did, you know, I hung out with a lot of interesting characters. Marijuana was a big aspect of that environment and that friend group at the time, and I decided to try smoking weed. Now, the first time I smoked weed, I couldn't say like I was really like baked, if you would, or geeked as the kids say these days, but I definitely felt something. I felt like, you know, loosey-goosey. I felt maybe like that heaviness. It wasn't until the second time I smoked weed that I really felt like I had been transported to another dimension and my life was no longer the same, you know, like, and this was a different group of friends the second time. Maybe this was part of it, but everybody was just having so much fun. You know, we did the old school thing where you put your friend in a box and everybody stops talking when you put the box over their heads. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you should look it up. But they did that to me and everyone stopped talking and they were just mouthing their words, and I thought I was going crazy. And I was absolutely in love with weed from the age of 16. And it just became something that I was doing all of the time. And I just never really thought about why I was doing it. I just knew that I enjoyed it. I knew that it was something I wanted to do. And I just kept smoking and toking, man. And all of my friends, we kept smoking and toking, dude. We'd be smoking bowls in the bathroom, my friend's basement. We'd be smoking at gigs, at shows, and everything. And, you know, as time went on, it just became something that I was always doing. You know, I had a girlfriend. Fast forward to the age 19, I had a girlfriend. I was always smoking weed with her. That was always something we did. She had family that smoked weed. We all smoked weed together. I'd hang out at her place and smoked weed. And you know, this whole time I was hiding it from my parents because like I didn't want them to know I was smoking weed because I just knew they'd be pissed at me. So I always tried to have this, I guess, this fake persona when I was high of like not being high, if you will. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I would always tell myself like, I'm not high, and act as though I wasn't high. Meanwhile, you looked at me and I looked like a droopy dog from Tom and Jerry. And I just wanted to, I guess, kind of break that stigma that's around weed, that like you're just like a shot out person when you smoke. And I would always try to act more sober than I truly was. And I, you know, in hindsight, my parents, they probably knew because there was just so many times that I would just be extremely baked. I remember me and my friend, this is like the third time I smoked weed, and we were like trying to make a microwavable pizza, but it was one of those microwavable pizzas that wasn't actually microwavable. You had to cook it in the oven, and we put it in the microwave for like 7 minutes, dude. And like, as I swear, it was something out of like a stoner movie. Like, as my dad walks in the door, like the pizza is smoking in the microwave, and my dad just looks at his bows and he goes, "What are you guys, high?" And and I don't know if he was joking or not, but like it felt like time just stopped in that moment, and me and my friend just like looked at each other like wide-eyed, like, oh shit, he knows. And then we just tried to play it off cool, and my dad let it slide. I don't think he knew, but maybe he did. But as I got older, you know, it was just something I was always doing. You know, going into college, I was smoking before college. I would smoke people up at college. That's how I met most of my friends in college that I had at the time. You know, was hanging out, smoking, not only smoking weed, but smoking cigarettes too. Not good. don't smoke cigarettes. And, you know, I would meet all the stoners at the cigarette spot at college, and we would just like, we would go to my car. And at the time, dude, like I was so involved. Like I wasn't that friend that was like the stereotypical stoner, but like I was so involved. Like I would have like a dab rig with me that I would carry with me all the time. And I would have like the butane torch, you know, and I'd be like heating up the needle like in my truck, and like giving the like random people like these dabs and stuff. And I just like, I don't know, maybe it was like an attention thing. Like I liked being that guy that wanted to like give people something, or maybe it was like a confidence issue, you know. And I was always just high, and it was you know, it wasn't really an issue. But I do think that maybe, you know, if I wasn't focused on weed all of the time like I was in my early 20s, because this is when the problem really started to develop, right? I spent so much time with my friends, you know, like trying to find weed, trying to find dealers to get weed from, because it wasn't just like we couldn't just go to a dispensary at the time. I was playing in a band when I was 19, and dude, we would spend more time talking about band stuff, smoking weed, than actually playing music. And to me, it was just like so disheartening. Like we never even got to play shows with that band, because things were just like, it was just all about the weed all the time, and we'd just be up late night smoking weed, drinking 40s, and that was our life, and that was my focus. And I think like in hindsight, like man, like I could have been doing so many different things at that time in my life. I could have been focusing maybe more on like solo music, or maybe focusing on learning new skills or things like that, but I was wasting my time away focusing on the weed, because that's the thing that I guess I would never accept, was the fact that I was addicted to marijuana. And people say that marijuana isn't addictive. Yeah, I understand in the aspect of like your body craving it, you're not truly addicted, but you do get addicted to the feeling, you get addicted to the routine, you get addicted to the motion, especially if you're somebody that smoked every day, multiple times a day like I did. I think a lot of people won't admit that they're addicted to it. And if you are addicted to it, like I don't think it's I'm not saying like, oh, go get help, but you can also just admit that to yourself and realize, okay, I'm addicted to this. Maybe something in my life needs to make a change in some way, shape, or form, right? So as my 20s were progressing, I was still smoking all the time, and this is probably like the peak of like when it was like really starting to become a problem in my life, because I was not only just spending a lot of money on weed, you know, I was getting it from sketchy places. This is when like the pens started to become a big thing. I was not only like getting these cartridges from like sketchy places and stuff like that, but like I had scare moments where I had some like really weird kush, man, and that stuff like had me and my buddies grinding our teeth like we just did like 10 lines of coke. I will say, luckily, I've never really experimented past doing marijuana except for mushrooms, which is a totally different experience, but maybe we'll save that for another video. It was to the point where I was waking up, going to work. I had a job, I mentioned this before, I had a job working audio video, and dude, I was working on these like multi-million-dollar homes, and everybody in the company smoked weed too. So I would like, we would be like, I'd be smoking on the way to work, hitting the pen, you know, maybe hitting a bowl, get to work. We get to the job site. My one coworker had a bowl in his lunch box. It was kind of funny. That's all he had in his lunch box. He always brought lunch, but there was never lunch in it. It was just a bowl and weed. And we would hit that, and maybe, you know, smoke after lunch, go to lunch, all that. And it was just so exhausting, because I'm doing like all this manual labor, and I'm just zonked out the whole day. It was extremely tiresome. And I reached a point to where I was so tired of feeling like I was just like on autopilot. Like I couldn't picture my life like any other way in like I couldn't see the future, you know what I mean? It was like the world stopped for me, and I couldn't see where my life was going, you know? And this was, and my girlfriend, now my wife at the time, she was smoking too. We would both be smoking, and like thinking about like the early days of our relationship, like we spent so much time just looking for weed, like I did with the band. It was a lot of that too, and it's just so frustrating to think of all the time that was wasted just looking for the stuff, and you know, then smoking it and being high. And I can't even remember any of those conversations or those moments. My memory has just faded along with the brain cells. So we fast forward a little bit, you know, I reached kind of a point at work where I hurt my hand, I hurt my thumb, and I just kind of was like fed up with the job that I was working, and I knew like I needed to change. I realized that the first step was to stop smoking weed. So I stopped smoking weed, and I'll be honest, guys, like if you smoke chronically, like they say like people like to say, oh, the weed helps me sleep. It definitely does, but when you get off of it, that first month, man, is like hell, because your dreams are like nightmares, man. You're literally living in Hellraiser, the movie, and you just don't sleep well. You sleep like shit. You feel crappy all the time. You wake up very groggy, and you really got to get past that first month. And once you get past the first month, man, the sleep is so much better. You really do hit that full REM sleep, because that's the thing like people don't talk about is the weed blocks the like it blocks the receptors that let you reach that full REM sleep, and you're missing out on that crucial like sleep development. Even as I'm talking now, I'm thinking about this, like I was missing out on so much crucial like rest in my like late teens to my mid 20s that I think that probably affected me very negatively in ways, you know. So eventually I stopped smoking weed, and I'll tell you what, man, my life has gotten so much better. I feel like I can actually like see the colors again, you know. Before it felt like I had this glaze over my eyes, over my mind, and everything just felt very dull. And now I have feeling again. I have emotion again. I have been sober from weed for approximately 5 years making this video. And to me, I've felt so much better that is no longer a crutch in my life. And again, like I understand that marijuana helps people and there's reasons for it, but I think we need to be honest with ourselves that it is a drug, it is addictive, and it can alter your mind, and it can also affect you in productivity and things like that. And I just wish that I didn't make those choices when I was younger. I really, like, if there's one thing I can present to my kids is like, please just wait until you're older. Like, wait until you're an adult. Wait until you like live on your own. Like, figure your life out before you go and do those things, because you don't know how it's going to affect you. I know people that have smoked weed and have become very successful people, and they still smoke weed. I know people who have smoked weed and are now in prison. So, not saying that the two things are related in a way, but there is that you don't know how your life is gonna go when you start going down that route. You know, they say like marijuana is a gateway drug again. Like, I know people that started smoking weed and then they ended up on fentanyl. And it's not to say like for me, like I didn't go past really smoking weed. I did mushrooms a couple times, but I never really went past that, whereas other people I know did, and their lives got ruined. The thing that a lot of younger people don't realize is that if you want to succeed in this life, like sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Like life isn't all about pleasure. And I feel like that's maybe the dream that's sold with marijuana, is like you can enjoy life when you're on it. And life is hard, man. It's cruel, it's tough, but are you going to put your life on hold just because you want to smoke a little pot? Is it worth it? Because there's a lot of people that want to get jobs and they want to work and they want to do this stuff. They're like, oh man, I can't find a job. But then there's a job, but they drug test you and it's like, oh man, I still can't find a job. Yeah, it's because you want to smoke weed. And it's like, are you gonna just keep getting high because you think that's what's gonna help you, and not try to focus on like getting your life together? Because like I'm looking back now as a 31-year-old man that life comes at you so quick, man. Just 3 years ago, I didn't have kids. Now I have kids. My whole life's focus has changed. So much can happen within just a small amount of time. You could be somebody that is a chronic smoker and you could be great at driving while you're high, but you get in one accident where you accidentally kill somebody. Now you're driving under the influence. They'll drug test you. You're driving under the influence, and you're going to be going to prison. And it's like, was it worth it? Was that joint worth it? Was that smoking that bowl worth it? I don't know. That's not a question that I can answer for anyone. But what I do know is I'd rather not take those chances these days. And you know, the weed's getting stronger. It's getting more potent. It's getting scarier. And I personally just I'm not down to be zonked out 24/7. I don't want to feel like I have a glaze on me anymore. And if this kind of video pisses people off because I'm saying, yeah, stop smoking weed, then I don't know, man. That might be more of a reflection on you than it is on me, because if you're getting triggered at my video talking about something that I think is important to talk about, that might be your inner monologue telling you, hey man, maybe you should stop smoking weed too. But again, I'm not your dad, I'm not your mom, I'm not God, I'm not your boss. I can't tell you what to do with your life, but I just hope that maybe a video like this could help somebody in the future. My biggest takeaway is this: don't let life just pass you by because you feel like you need to be doing something that you probably don't need to be doing. And this could be for anything, whether it's, you know, you're playing too many video games, you're smoking too much weed, you're, you know, watching too much porn, whatever it is. Like, you can't let these things get in the way of life that is right in front of you. And all of these things will eventually just put a glaze over your eyes and your mind. And I just hope that people can wake up before it's too late for them. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys enjoy this, please drop a subscription and leave a comment and let me know. Have you struggled with smoking weed? Do you smoke weed still? What are your opinions on this? I love to read the comments. I read all of them. And yeah, this has been Jefferson Speaks. I'll catch you guys on the next one.